Hello everyone, I'm Brian, and today I'm going to finish off this particular Youth and Truth. I guess I forgot to do this part. I don't know what in the world happened, so let's go ahead and get started.
Thank you so much for having this event. My name is Prem. I'm a sophomore studying history. And my question is about this idea of a cosmic or global identity. I think it's no secret that many of us here, no matter where we came from before this, we now have a certain level of privilege for being at a place like Columbia. And I think I'm confused as to whether this notion of a global or cosmic identity almost is predicated on a sense of privilege, and that certain people in this world don't necessarily have the privilege of being able to look beyond their most immediate surroundings, whether it's because of discrimination, racism, sexism, and so on. So how can we as people that maybe do have more privilege leverage that to make that global identity mean something more than just us talking about it here?
I don't necessarily think as those things are the most prevalent. I mean, I know they exist throughout the world, but I think food, hunger, thirst, and shelter is one that's preventing people from achieving things like that. Because those things you need to survive. I wonder how Sadhguru would take that. It's weird that he goes to those particular topics. Yes, there are a problem, but I think what's causing people not to be able to, say, look beyond their surroundings is the fact that they don't make enough money, they don't have enough money for food, they're just trying to survive. I think that being the top priority more so than the others.
This happened in Columbia University. Two young ladies met. One of them said, "I will not marry till I turn 30. Another said, "Well, I'm married, but I will never turn 30. So, we must understand the investment in problems that people have made. When my business is… your problems are my business, I don't want your problems to go away. Hello? Yesterday something came up, these two were there. This came up because yesterday morning I read something terrible happening somewhere in some part of the world. People keep sending me, though I am not in the UN, all the terrible things that happen. Before it comes to the news media, it comes to me in so many different ways. So, I was at the Economic Forum at Davos, and there's a big thing going on about Sudan. American celebrities posing with this starved-out child, photographs and everywhere, and compassion and stuff. I appreciate the intention, I'm not against it. Everybody has to do it in their own way, I'm not against that. But in the same video, they were showing all these militants taking automatic weapons and death everywhere, massive, large-scale rape, and simply, if you're a man, you'll die, if you're a woman, you get raped, all right? It's almost like that. That's southern Sudan was like that some time ago, now it's coming to some kind of sense. So these guys are just shooting, dozens of them, simply shooting in the sky. So I said, see, these guys are not shooting at somebody, they're shooting in the sky. That means they have limitless supply of armaments, all right? You can't take away the guns from them, but the bullets, they seem to have. The gun that they're using, I know what they're using, I know what caliber it is. There are just 8 companies which are making these bullets, armaments. 6 of them are in United States. All you have to do is, I'll give you the address. You just lock down this. In about 6 months' time, when they run out of bullets, at least they have to hack people. The number of people killed will go down at least. Once they don't have bullets, other people will know how to deal with them. Yes or no? I'm saying When my trouble is your business, will you give it up? So, as young people who are going into the business world, don't think you have to go there as a victim of what is existing right now. I'm not trying to blame everybody. This is how we've shaped it. All of us are responsible for this. Till now, this is how we've done business. It is time to change it. And last 20 years, everybody… there are lots of commentary in social media, why is he always with corporate leaders? Oh, he's become corrupt, he's moving with this person, that person. Because I see today, if you want to change the world, not just business world, if you want to change the world, how we do business has to change. It is not the success of military, it is not the success of politics which makes a nation, it is the success of business which makes a nation. So how are we conducting our business is important. If you don't transform the business leaders, how the hell are you going to change anything? When I was at the Economic Forum, somebody important there asked me, Sadhguru, if we have to do one thing for you to transform this world, what is it? I said, just give me 25 people for 5 days. I will change the world in the next 2 to 3 years. They asked, who are these 25 people? I named the top 25 leaders of the top 25 nations in the world. I said, see, normally with ordinary people, 2.5 days is enough to transform them. But these are politicians, so 5 days, I'm just taking insurance. 5 days you give them to me, if the way they think and feel about everything around them, even if there's a 10% change in the way that they are looking at the world, if they become 10% little more inclusive, the world will change dramatically, believe me. The food that we made for 18.6 billion people, one thing is we don't have to exploit the planet so badly to feed 7 billion people. And on that, 1/3 of them are hungry. This can be solved if these 25 people make up their mind. Yes or no? Hello? So it is very important. Today you're sitting here in the university as a student, but tomorrow you are part of a larger company. Well, when you join up, you may not be able to decide how to run this company. But don't become a victim and give up. This is all the choice you have. In India, always when it's say yoga, we always use lotus flower as a symbolism. Why lotus flower is, this is true with every flower, but particularly with lotus, is the more stinky the slush is, the more fragrant and beautiful the lotus flower becomes. So we always use this, that this is a way a yogi should be. When you see filth, you can become allergic to it and become an ascetic if you wish. Or when you see filth, you say, everywhere filth, let me also become filth. Lot of people become this. Or another way is, you transform the filth into your flower. This choice you have, wherever you are, whatever role you play, you have this choice. You are always a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. This one thing you do, depending upon your competence, let's see how far you go.
So, Sadhguru, thank you for being here. What advice would you give someone with healing gifts, someone who can help people create miracles in their lives to grow in service to the world?
Say,
Healing gifts, that's really weird. There's many ways you can take that. The way I will take that is you have a friendly, how to say, you have a friendly face, you're very friendly, you're nice, you're generous, you're kind. So, meaning that you volunteer your time in like hospitals and food places and, visit these places and provide people with happiness. That's really healing. Making people happy, that can affect their health in a good way. I'm not thinking of them like having some magical power go boop and then you're a clean bill of health there. But, just helping as in being there for someone providing them comfort, company, and happiness. Healing's power. That legitimately does heal people. I'm not saying that it's going to cure cancer. I'm not saying that you'll get over your flu in 1 minute after the fact, but you know, there is I believe there is a thing where if you're stressed or sad, your immune system becomes weaker. But if you're happy, your immune system is pretty strong. It's not to say all the time, it's not to say that if you're happy all the time that you'll be completely immune to all diseases or anything like that, but it's just your immune system is much stronger. It'll fight any kind of infection and stuff better. So I'd say miracles, I mean, do they exist? I guess. What I consider a miracle is something that we just don't know, we can't explain yet. So if you think that's a downer, like, oh, you don't believe in like the kind of stuff, it's like, no, not really, but you know, I do believe in miracles, but generally speaking that means like we can't explain it just yet. Like someone that's on the verge of dying, doctors couldn't do anything, all of a sudden to recover. It's like, oh, it's a miracle. It's like, yeah, something happened, I'm sure. You know, maybe the doctors did it, maybe they did it, maybe their immune system did it, something did it. We just don't know what it is. It's kind of like when we go back in human history, and when you look at lightning and rain and storms like that, it's like, oh, God did that. And when now we look at it, it's like, yeah, we can kind of predict the weather a little bit, you know, when storms are going to happen and whatnot. We can't control it, but, you know, it's not, you know, not Zeus up there throwing lightning down. It's like, yeah, you. Oops. Oh, I won't say what I thought about when I was younger, like God just peeing all over the place. That's what rain is. Yeah, good luck. Anyways, yeah, so yeah, if that's what you have, you wanna the healing powers, yeah. Volunteer in these places, maybe find I mean, you still have your regular job, and hopefully your job becomes something related to that. Maybe you become rich and a millionaire, and you can set up these, I won't say shelters, but places where people can recover or donate to, like places that have, like, you know, do research for cancer and stuff. Those are very much, and just go visit people, give people like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, stuff like that too, you know, like little hope for them to make it out alive, and you give them, you know, at least a very good wish, like give them the best life they can.
Miracle means like this. Everybody walks on the floor, you walk on the ceiling. Everybody swims in the water, but you walk upon the water. Please don't do these things. If you walk upon the water, where the hell will you swim? It's important. It's important that you don't do unreasonable things.
Okay, good.
Because if you do not recognize the miracle of your existence, right now see, we're sitting here.
Oh.
Maybe you're thinking we're sitting in Columbia University, but we are sitting here in this universe. We don't know where the goddamn thing begins and where it ends. We do not know its nature, and the damn planet is round and it's spinning, and we are sitting here and talking all this. Isn't it a miracle, I'm asking? Hello? Isn't it a miracle? So just pay attention, just tell me one thing that's not a miracle out here. What was yesterday's soil that you walk upon, today is a flower? What was yesterday's soil that you walk upon, today is the food on your plate? Yes? He agrees with me.
Good. We're good.
So, isn't this all a miracle? Hello? So there is no need for you to do something unreasonable. Miracles are just happening everywhere. Aren't they happening? Everywhere. You are a miracle, isn't it? Just somebody gave you 2 cells, see how you become. Isn't this a miracle? So, those who have no eyes for life, they're too engrossed within themselves, they think they will perform miracles. No. What is magical for one person? Suppose I pulled out something from my pocket, let's say 500 years ago, and started speaking to somebody in India. If I said, I am the messenger or the sun or himself, would you believe or no? Hello? What is one person's magic is another person's engineering. So this is why we are talking about inner engineering, where you can live magically, which is very important. This is magic, isn't it? Hello? Isn't this life magical? Everything about this? But unfortunately, most human beings are not experiencing it. Unfortunately, most human beings are muddled with their own logic and stuck in it so badly, they do not feel and enjoy the magic of their existence. If your perception is not muddled by your memory, this is very important because our entire education system from kindergarten to wherever you go, we are being made to believe memory is intelligence. Memory is not intelligence. All those who believe memory is intelligence are going to feel like idiots in the next 5 to 10 years when the artificial intelligence, when your little gadget starts doing better than you. Believe me, my phone can do 10 PhDs in a day. Yes. Aren't you finding this Google lady a miracle? She seems to know every damn thing, I'm just trying to think of something that she doesn't know.
There's one thing she doesn't know.
Everything that is about information gathering, remembering, keeping it in your memory, analyzing and throwing it out, a machine will do better than you. In the next few years, you just have to wait to feel like a fool. So, the significance of being human is just this, that we have a system which… just go by anything, let's say your eyes. The visual apparatus started developing, even now there are certain fish in the oceans where their skin became photosensitive, that means they could sense what is light, what is darkness. That is their level of seeing.
Is it the angelfish?
From there, our eyes have developed to this point on this planet. Our eyes, our neurological system, our brains are the highest level of development that's happened. So our experience of life is capable of being magical. For all those of you who are trying to magic by snorting or smoking or something, let me tell you, a little magic happens there also. I'm not somebody to look at this as a moral issue. It is just that it's destroying the possibilities, that's our only concern. Isn't this the most sophisticated chemical factory on this planet? Human mechanism? Hello? Now the question is only, because you're all business guys, the question is only, are you a great CEO or a lousy CEO? That's all. If you're a great CEO, you will get what you want out of this. If you're a lousy CEO, you get tension, anxiety, misery. I get ecstasy. Thank you.
Hi Sadhguru, thank you for being here. My name is Matan, I'm a first-year MBA student. My question is actually also about identity. You've spoken about the need or kind of the benefit of detaching from a biological identity. And I'm curious, I think there's a lot of people in the room and this question kind of came up again and again. If somebody wants to kind of to act positively in society, there's an instinct to start from that biological community, from the people that you identify with biologically. And since you've spoken about that need to detach from that identity, where do you suggest, like, what's the alternative to starting from that biological community? And maybe I've understood you the wrong way, because I see you shaking your head.
How would I answer that? I would say that yes, biological is fine and all. Obviously, we needed that to get to where we're at. That's my assumption. You know, it's not necessarily to get rid of your biological needs or wants or whatever. It's just understand. To me, it's always about understanding. It's understanding it. when you can understand it, you can separate yourself from it because you understand it. Maybe it is Jnana Yoga. Anyways, but yeah, when you can understand things, you're able to see things clearly. I think. I'm not saying it works for everything, but so far I think so. So when you understand the reason why you act a certain way, the reason why you treat people a certain way, if you can understand those things, then you can do something about it. You're like, oh, I treat this person this way because I'm ignorant, or they did something to me. Now, if you understand that, you can say, well, what can I do to improve the situation? If you can understand that, you can take action. And if you can understand the fact that it's better to have more friends than enemies, that would make a lot of changes. But I wouldn't say you necessarily need to get rid of your biological identities. It's just, for me, it's always just understanding. If you understand that, you know, your hunger, your anxiety, your emotions are all biological, I won't say necessities, although hunger is, but maybe not anxiety. I don't think that's a necessity. If you can understand those things, you know how to treat your hunger. You know, you eat. Now, if your anxiety is like, how do I understand that? Well, figure out what triggers it, what causes it. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but if you do understand it, you can fight back on that. And I think with understanding, we can get past our biological survival. Yeah, that's the word. But obviously, it's going to take everyone to do something like that, to get past our biological survival instincts and to work together. I hope I answered that correctly.
See, I did not ever say you should detach yourself from biological identity. Instead of seeing your mother, father, brothers, sisters and whatever, the larger family, as your biological identity, why don't you see that they are the first people that you have access to? You can work most effectively only where you have access and acceptance, isn't it? People are always telling me, Sadhguru, you must come and work in Africa. I said, no, I will not work in Africa. Because if I want to go into Africa, I would like somebody to give me at least $5 billion before I enter Africa, because without that hand-holding, you can't make a difference there. You cannot. You will go there and waste your life, nothing will happen. I work in India, because in India, if you give me $10, I will make it into $1,000 in effect, because I have access and acceptance with the people. This is not because of my nationality I work in India, simply because the access and acceptance is so good that if you give me $10, I will make it into $1,000. But if I go to Africa, if you give me $100, it'll become $1, because there is no access and acceptance out there. And the problem there is of a different nature. It's a completely different nature. So where you choose to work is not a question of your nationality or your ethnicity or your family. Where you have access and acceptance, that's where you must start, otherwise you'll just waste your time and energy. Because life is just a combination of time and energy, isn't it? Limited amount of time, limited amount of energy. If you run into walls here and there, time and energy will go and your life will go. It's very important you run through the door, not through the wall. Yes? Where there is openness, there you go. Then you want to turn around and come there, that's a different matter. But you must always start work where there is acceptance and access. Without access, what will you do? You'll just beat your head on the wall.
Wow. Well, I mean, yeah. It's really strange. I never thought I'd hear that from Sadhguru, especially going to Africa, but I completely understand, you know. He isn't wrong, and there are places in Africa I think you can get a start. It's more than likely, obviously, in places that are, I'd say, more prosperous relative to the rest of the country, the rest of the continent, not the country, sorry. Africa's not a country, it's a continent. But yeah, you know, I've been watching React videos on YouTube and watching what is it? Lately, I've just been going back to the true story of Jessica Buchanan, and you know, as a matter of fact, I have the video on that screen, my other computer, my not my recording, but my media computer where I do the editing and stuff, so that I can record and edit at the same time. And as a matter of fact, it's on the true story of Jessica Buchanan about her going to Africa, trying to make a change, you know, over there. And then we have Sadhguru over here saying that it's very very difficult, you know, nearly impossible. You know, and it just made me think of what she's doing. I mean, yeah, it's making a change for sure, but for how long? You know, for how much? What I mean by how much is like how many people. Is it going to be permanent or not? You know, and she just explained, as a matter of fact, that you know, I forget where she's Somalia. Yeah, Somalia. She explained that. In that country, there's nothing. There's no jobs. There's nothing there. There's no food, no farming, no industry. You can't fish because apparently neighboring countries would essentially they fished out their fishing areas, so they don't have anything to fish. There's no food essentially. Nothing import export. She says. I'm sure there is some import, but probably not much export. And probably very little import. So you know, her, you know, trying to make a change over there, and then I haven't finished the video yet. So it's actually her talking, and she's talking about how, you know, there's literally nothing in that country. And it's like, wow, you know, yeah. Whenever you come down to literally, again, food, water, and shelter, they don't have much food. They don't have much water. That's why they turn to what they're doing. You know, because there's nothing else to do. And anyways, yeah. Then you also hear stories about like Christianity going over there, and then, you know, Christianity being the popular religion, and also Muslims going over there, and Muslim being the popular religion, and them fighting each other because of the extreme. Now, mind you, this is extremist Muslim and extremist Christians going over there. You know, I won't say militant, but they I don't know how to describe it, like they hard interpret the book. Like if it says it that way, like and perhaps maybe the worst interpretations of their books, it's kind of, yeah, it's pretty bad. Anyways, yeah, it's really interesting. I guess Sadhguru can't save the world for the most part, but he can save a lot of people and make changes in a lot of places. And you know, it is going to be one person at a time, one state at a time, one town at a time, one country at a time. And maybe eventually, if you can get all past that, especially to the one country at a time, maybe eventually you get to the one world at a time. You know, but that is kind of interesting. And I guess that is an interesting way he explained it, how you must have access. Acceptance and access, that's very much so, you know, and you look at the religious groups over there, they weren't accepting. There's access, but you have to accept their access. Let's hear it. I don't know if there's anything more or not.
And if you have a great idea, if you cannot even sell it to your family, you're not going to sell it to anybody.
The last thing we're going to close with for Youth and Truth is, what worries you the most about the youth of tomorrow?
What?
What worries you the most?
Oh, I'm not the worrying kind. Because this nonsense that every generation is worried about the next generation, I'm not that kind. The previous generation was worried about me. And they didn't know a thing about me, they just worried about me. I'm not worrying about you. I'm not, because I know with all your madness, you'll figure out things as things go by. It's being worried about the next generation always is a ancient malady. You must see what Socrates said about the next generation. He said they have no respect, they don't stand up when elders come, they're not thinking straight, they're going to ruins. Well, 2000, 3000 years ago, the guy is talking the same thing. Time to change that. I'm not worried about you because I see For the first time in the history of humanity, this generation is empowered in ways that nobody had imagined possible. Yes? Our survival is better organized than ever before. And if we want to change the world, no better time, because I want you to recognize this, because many great beings have come right from ancient times. In their own… every generation had their greats. But even if they raised their voice and spoke, hardly 25 people heard. Today, if you have something sensible to say, you can say it to the whole damn world. Do not underestimate that. So one thing you should do as business people and young people is clean up that space a little bit. All kinds of idiots are saying things loudly, saying things are not really getting across. Yes? Because still social media, I feel, will mature. Probably in the next 5–10 years, people will know how to filter it. But there is a concern because the way we are using these technologies against ourselves and against everybody else. When I say against, there are many things. They're telling me 70% of the data is pornography. And they're telling me on the internet, over 1.2 million children below 15 years of age are being sold for all kinds of filthy things. I think as a society, as human beings, when we start selling our children, that means we've hit the bottom. What do you think? Hello?
We've been at
We
the
really
bottom
hit
for a
the bottom,
long time
isn't it?
then.
So, these are things that young people can change. I'm just saying, how many in this campus?
5,000.
5,000 people. If 5,000 people meet and you're determined, you want to change the language and the direction of what's happening on the internet, believe me, you can do it. 5,000 people, if you get active, just do it. Let's make it happen.
I will say this though, I fear obviously, a few of his speeches in this just recent one has a lot of, what do you call it, kind of, I won't say militant, but like the government needs to take action and all that, like a lot of policies in government. The thing is though, I'm not necessarily against giving government power. My issue is giving government too much power. And Sadhguru talks about it in both sides where, government has too much power and then government needs to get power, which is along the lines of where I stand too, where I want people to make the changes and not the government to enforce a change. So no laws against something, but let the people and the culture itself change, because once the government gains power in something, it will not let that go. And interestingly enough, I don't remember if I've seen this in a movie or not, but there are antiquated laws in America, I'm sure, and most countries probably, like laws that doesn't necessarily apply in modern time, but it can. And these old laws that are antiquated and you never think would ever come up, will all of a sudden come up to grant the power to the government to do something that they need and want to do, but couldn't have they not had this power. They can bring up, oh yeah, there's a law here that says if you own a goat, we can visit your house every Friday, or own a cow or a horse, or you have a dog house, or you have a cat or something, just really antiquated laws that were there for a reason, but that reason is now gone, but the law still remains. So that's my stance on terms of government. Government needs power, but we have to be careful of what power we give to the government. And kind of like he's talking about the social media platform here, where it's like filter that stuff out. I'm thinking this is what he means. It's not to silence those people necessarily, because when there's a power to silence, that power can be I won't say given, but it goes both ways, I suppose. So perhaps the bad people will silence the good people because the power's there. So I'd say filter as in you yourself is responsible for filtering the good content from social media. Not that it needs to be muted or silenced in social media, the apps or the videos themselves. Because if that power's there, whoever has that power will silence the opposition, and that's not good. If we let the people have the power, they individually will do it themselves. That way the content is still out there for everyone to, study or listen to, and they themselves can filter it themselves. That way, imagine if Sadhguru was, say the populace just all of a sudden found Sadhguru as nonsensical, and they remove him from social media because he's speaking nonsense, speaking cosmic and Atma and Brahman and yogis and yogas, and they silence him. How would you feel about that? And all of a sudden, because there's this power to silence people, that Sadhguru or Acharya or Swami Sarvapriyananda all get silenced because they're speaking nonsensical stuff. This is the reason why I don't necessarily believe in silencing people, especially in social media. But again, I am 100% for corporations to run their business how they like. So if they end up doing that, that is their business to do that. I support it, and at the same time I disagree with it. I can do both. And this is an opportunity, if that were to happen, for someone to create another social media platform that's free speech, I guess you could say. So anyways, I hope that all makes sense. So, you have people who are like flat earthers talking on YouTube, and then you have people who counter that. Great open discussion. Make the individual people decide for themselves. Don't get me wrong, there's stupid people out there. It's just gonna happen. But we have to, as a culture and as a people, try our best to give good information. But that doesn't mean silencing people, because whoever has that power will silence probably the more sane person. They can silence, sane people. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. Anyway, some more reaction to Sadhguru and Kumbhali University. Good Lord, I thank you for the people who reminded me that, hey, where's the last part? It's like, oops, somehow I don't know what happened. I guess I got busy that week and completely forgot. So nice. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.